Hello and welcome back to the BitTalks podcast, the show that brings you news on crypto and blockchain. My name is Brandon from BitTips and I am your host. Shortly, I'll be joined by the Chief of Operations at BitTips, Antonio Sousa, for a discussion about the markets and what crypto has been doing these last couple days. We'll also be discussing a few topics such as the Securities and Exchange Commission, at long last releasing its token guidance for crypto, the European Union, which has launched a new blockchain group. We'll be discussing a couple of things that Ripple is currently working on, including a fiat interledger protocol, and also adoption by an IT giant that is currently using XRP Ripple technology. And lastly, we'll be finishing up with a little bit of news about what Tron has been working on with US dollar Tether, as well as a new dApp chain that they are working on. Okay, I'm joined with Antonio, the COO of BitTips.com. Antonio, what do you think about what's been going on with the crypto prices lately? Last week, we saw a micro bull run, and now this week, we're starting to see things start to retract a little bit. What is your take on all of this?
It was very predictable. This happened in the past bear market. There's like there was a little hype at a certain point, and prices started going up. And a good analogy I would say is imagine everyone in the desert. Like there is no rain for like 60 days, and then it starts raining. People just go crazy. Oh, there's gonna be growing trees. There's gonna be a lake, but no, then it just goes away. It's just a temporary rain, and it's funny because if you look at the markets, everything is down on the reds today. And right now, at the moment, Litecoin is down 11.13%. And another interesting thing about Litecoin is that in 2015, in the bear market, around when the halving occurred around August,
Right, the halving.
Six times, and that's also we've been seeing some hype around Litecoin because that is going to happen. The halving is going to occur this year around August or September. And
The halving of the mining reward for each block.
yeah, the mining reward is going to be halved, and that should increase the price of the asset because it'll make it more valuable in a certain way. It's a deflationary policy. And every time that occurs, it might generate a little bull run, but it's just interesting to see how the market gets really ahead of itself. And we can watch in one of our previous videos, we interviewed Alex Sundberg from Tether Capital, and he said the market is still very overhyped. And actually it's funny because Alex tweeted that Ethereum should be around $50. And even myself, I think Ethereum and the price of a lot of assets are still overvalued because there's just too much hype around it, and some of them don't really deliver anything. They don't really have any like real world applications, or they don't really solve any problems, and it's just pure hype. And a lot of people just got rich quick off this, but they don't bring anything to society.
And I think this is something that we see a lot with a couple of the top 10 coins in particular, namely Bitcoin Cash, and I would also say XRP, Ripple. These are coins that, yes, they do have a lot of utility behind them, and they do have a purpose, but the reason why they react so much to the market hype, and particularly Bitcoin Cash, is the marketing behind it. And if you look at most of the news behind new news for cryptocurrency and stuff, I would say the vast majority of it has to do with Ripple XRP. And I would say at least 50% of the news that comes about XRP comes directly from Ripple themselves. So this just shows that, the currencies that have good marketing teams, Bitcoin Cash has Roger Ver and Bitcoin.com. These are the coins that people are, once the bull market starts to pick up a little bit, people have already heard it. It's been in their minds for the last couple months, and they're more willing to it's more familiar to them, so they're going to invest in that. And that's why we saw over an 80% increase in Bitcoin Cash just the other day. And for me, this is, the money that was poured in about a week and a half ago. There was about 20,000 Bitcoin bought. That is either manipulation or somebody was just trying to get their investment in. But because of that, it caused the market hype, caused everything to go up to around 5,200. Then everything tanks again, and people lost their money. Some people made money, but then things start to go up again, which is interesting because we saw just in the last 24 hours that Bitcoin went up to, I think, like $5,400, which was higher than the last little run that it had. So we're still seeing the effects of this $100 million pump a week and a half ahead of the time. But as you said, this isn't really sustainable growth. This is just hype growth. It's not sustained. If it's sustained, it'll stay like this. But we're already starting to see pullbacks. We're starting to see these little plateaus up and down, and it's fun to trade that if you're a short-term trader. But for a long-term trader, you got to recognize the overall lows and the overall highs, in my opinion.
I mean, exactly, and a lot of the tokens are still overvalued, and the price, I think in the long term, is still going to drop a lot because we're in the second year bear market, and the higher the price goes in the bull run, the longer the bear market lasts. Last bear market lasts around 4 years. We're still in the second year of this huge bull market that occurred in 2017 in December. So it's just the second year, and it will take a long time, but this is the only way for the market to adjust itself, to wash out all the bad projects, all the scam projects, because they're not going to be able to survive if the price continues to go down, which it should keep going down because a lot of the tokens are overvalued for what they bring onto the table. And then the best advice is just dollar cost average your way in, invest whatever money you're willing to lose. I'm not a financial advisor, as a disclaimer, but invest whatever money you're willing to lose. If it's $50 a month, it's $50 a month, and just put a little bit every month, and you can buy some cool assets, and maybe in the future it'll be worth it something. But never go with the FOMO, the fear of missing out, because that's exactly what happened. Bitcoin started going 1,500, like it just keeps going up, and then people are like, oh my god, I need to jump in, I'm gonna miss the train. And it's funny because in the last couple of days I felt so many similarities to 2017 in December, when we're like on the 1,500, 1,600, 1,700, and like 20,000, and then we're like, oh damn, I should just jump in. But then at some point he's gonna come back down again, and as Warren Buffett and very other investors say, you always buy on red and sell on green. And you should never violate that rule if you want to make solid profits. So,
or in the words of our friend at Uribe TV, buy high, sell low. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Antonio from BitTips.com. Antonio, thanks for coming on again.
Yeah, great talk with you, Brandon.
Glad to hear from Antonio and get his perspective on this once again. We'll definitely be bringing him back on in the future. Now let's hop into some of the news that's been going on in the crypto community. Probably most notably with the Securities and Exchange Commission, which has just released its long-awaited crypto token guidance. The director of corporation finance from the SEC, William Hinman, revealed in November last year that the regulator was developing new guidance for crypto tokens. Hinman stated in November that the plain English guidance would be able to help new token issuers easily determine whether or not their cryptocurrencies would qualify as securities. The guidance includes examples of both networks and tokens that fall under securities laws, as well as projects that do not. According to the guidance, new token issuers must consider a number of factors before offering their tokens as securities. Factors include expectations of profits, whether a single or at least central group of entities are responsible for specific tasks within the network, and whether a group is creating or supporting a market for a digital asset. The guidance also includes some notes about whether tokens should be reevaluated as securities or not. Criteria for reevaluation includes things like the distributed ledger network and digital assets are fully developed and operational, which means that individuals can immediately use the token for some kind of function. Or the token is focused on a specific use case rather than speculation. Or prospects for appreciation in the token's value are limited. And if billed as a currency, the token actually operates as a store of value. So these are all factors that new token issuers and existing token issuers are going to have to consider about whether or not their tokens are going to be classified as securities or not. Hopefully we'll be hearing more from the Securities and Exchange Commission, as regulation is very important to the crypto community. And before anybody starts getting in trouble for illegally trading or selling cryptocurrencies, we would definitely like to have no gray areas left for how the law is going to be interpreted. In other news, a European Commission is set to launch a new group called the International Association of Trusted Blockchain Applications, or INATBA for short, this Wednesday from Brussels in Belgium. This association aims to build a framework which encourages public and private sector collaboration, dialogue with regulators and policymakers, and legal predictability, which ensures integrity and transparency in blockchain infrastructures. This group includes some pretty notable members such as banks Barclays and BBVA, the consultancy firm Accenture, French beauty product giant L'Oreal, and a number of blockchain startups have also joined as well. The INATVA intends to encourage public and private sector collaboration. It's going to put forth some guidelines that it will develop for blockchain and distributed ledger-based applications. So hopefully this will help to drive better integrity and transparency in blockchain infrastructure. Next on the agenda, our news comes from Ripple. The Ripple development team has launched its first fiat interledger protocol connector, and it is expected to be a big step forward towards interoperability with traditional financial systems and gaining mass adoption. Ripple has been working on obtaining mass adoption by financial institutions. They've been approaching several of them around the world and introducing products to them that would help them with both local and cross-border transactions, making them cheaper, faster, and more efficient. The introduction of this interledger protocol may make it easier for financial institutions to handle cryptocurrency and fiat currency. David Schwartz, the chief technological officer at Ripple, is convinced that the ILP will become a global payment system. Schwartz was quoted in 2018 saying that by connecting bank ledgers and existing infrastructure investments via ILP, banks are taking the first steps in improving global payments today and in enabling a true internet of value, end quote. Schwartz also added that Ripple's X-Rapid solution would make it possible for banks and other financial entities to save time and money when carrying out cross-border remittances. By putting forth these new protocols and products, it is very clear that Ripple is trying to lay down the foundation for the next several decades of finance. Ripple's ability to bring down the cost and the lead time for international remittances has made it very attractive to a number of agencies around the world. One such agency, Tata Consultancy Services, which is a multi-billion-dollar global IT consulting giant, says that its Quartz blockchain solution now works with Ripple. They were quoted saying, "The Quartz cross-border remittances solution enables banks and payment systems to connect to newer DLT-based payment infrastructures, like RippleNet, for processing of cross-border FX remittance transactions. Tata Consultancy plans to leverage its Quartz blockchain in helping payment institutions undergo the changes they need to help connect to blockchain platforms." The company, which is headquartered in Mumbai, India, claims that it services more than a quarter of the world's population, processing more than 1 billion accounts. The company describes its blockchain solution, Quartz, as an API that connects to existing distributed ledger payment infrastructures and other blockchain platforms that gives companies the ability to implement near real-time settlement of remittances and lower foreign exchange conversion fees. It also enables instantaneous tracking of transactions, boosts liquidity, and reduces audit overheads. The company has not yet specified which of Ripple's technologies it will use for cross-border solutions, or whether it will support Ripple's XRP-powered X-Rapid. However, it is expected that XRP integration would be relatively easy for the Quartz blockchain. Our last topic on today's agenda deals with Tron. Tron has been working on a second layer protocol to help increase scalability with the platform. Today they have announced that their Sun network will begin its testnet launch on May 30 of 2019. So what is the Sun network expansion plan? Well, according to Tron, this plan includes dApp sidechains, cross-chain infrastructures, and some other expansion projects. The project will further expand the overall capacity of the Tron network, improve the overall TPS and smart contract execution efficiency of Tron. So what is a dApp chain? This is Tron's dApp sidechain expansion project, which will significantly increase the capacity of Tron's dApp. dApp chain focuses on adopting customizable ways to run dApps with extremely low energy consumption, high security, and efficiency. Tron has announced that there will be 3 major phases to the dApp chain. First, as just stated, the testnet. The testnet is going to start on May 30th. The main features of the testnet will include unlimited expansion and sidechain assets that are highly secure with extremely low cost. The official launch of the network is slated to be on August 10th. Phase 3 of their plan is to optimize the dApp chain, which will be completed by September 15th of this year. The optimization is intended to improve the ease of using the network and also facilitate easy deployment of sidechains. On April 6, Tron founder, CEO Justin Sun, took part in the Crypto Chick podcast and hinted that the Tron ecosystem will officially collaborate with Ethereum later this year. No further details were reported. During that same podcast, Justin Sun also took note at the stablecoin that Tron is currently working on. The Tron-based US dollar Tether collaboration is set to launch on April 9 and has been getting a lot of interest from institutional investors, according to the CEO. We haven't talked much about stablecoins yet on the BitTalks podcast. However, we can say as of right now that US dollar Tether has been under a lot of scrutiny in the past few years. To this day, US dollar Tether has yet to complete a full audit. Recently, Tether announced that its tokens are no longer backed one-to-one by physical dollars. Instead, the firm decided that it would change this claim and say that it may use other assets as collateral. For a company that has been under so much scrutiny and is so important to the basis of the crypto markets, or it was anyways until other stablecoins started getting introduced, it's extremely important that a company like Tether maintains high level of transparency. So hopefully partnering with a company like Tron will help it to maintain that. Justin Sun was quoted as saying that most of the congestion and the bad experience of the stablecoin comes from the Omni blockchain because this is an obsolete solution with extremely expensive, slow, and also unreliable infrastructure for the stablecoin. So once we get to the better infrastructure, I think the whole blockchain community will be benefited from this. I think it's interesting to see that Tron is partnering with the stablecoin, and hopefully this truly does help make the network more reliable. On that note, that concludes today's episode of the BitTalks podcast. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Brandon Rodriguez. Tune in next time.